Hey, you're all dressed up for us. You're all dressed up for us.
Yeah, so I've decided to smarten up my act. I'm sorry I missed the lunch without packing.
No, I understand you weren't feeling well.
I was not well at all.
Really?
I had that thing that was going around.
Really?
Quite a lot of our folks got it.
Did it like knock you out?
I wasn't completely knocked out by the time that day came around, but I certainly wouldn't have been. I've been coughing all over you. But yeah, for a few days before it wasn't.
Hi, Greg. Hi, Andy.
Oh, hey.
All right.
Hi, are you back?
I'm back, but I leave tomorrow.
Great.
And I just had my daughter and my two grandkids. My Newton just dropped them off at the airport. So
Oh, really?
yeah, it's been crazy.
So tomorrow you're off to where?
Going to LA, but then Indianapolis for the eclipse.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
Hey, John.
then, hey, John.
Hello.
So yeah, I missed the gathering too. How I heard Andy make some comments, yeah, that he wasn't well. So glad to see you're feeling better, Andy. So
Better.
yeah, how many ended up going up to Halipohaku?
It was just Diana and her husband and Kimo Lee.
Mm,
But then it was me and Nahua, and we didn't have all of our managers, but several of the managers joined us for lunch. Courtney joined us. But Pucky had brought his wife to you. So it was nice.
oh,
It was nice. It was nice.
good. Yeah, sorry I missed it. So before I forget, I just wanted to let you know, Greg, that
Yeah.
Mike Miyahira reached out to me and he said if he gets confirmed, then he will let me know. And anyway, I told him that he needs to talk with you too.
Okay. Yeah, I have that in my executive director's report, his appointment.
Okay.
So Yeah, I know he's reached out to several people. I don't know him. So. But yeah, thank you for referring him to me.
Yeah. I actually worked with him at Bank of Hawaii.
They don't say what bank he was with, but in all of the material, but I heard he was Bank of Hawaii.
Right.
Hi, Diana.
Yeah. Hi, Diana. Hi, Wayne. Hmm. Do we need one more? Are we good? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 of us.
Yeah, there's 4 of us. We're good.
We're
Did you hear
good.
from Julie?
Julie, no.
Yeah. So we never heard from Julie, and Noah's not able to join us today. She's traveling back from Honolulu.
Oh, okay.
Was Gary gonna join us?
Jesse said he should be,
Okay.
Jesse isn't going to be coming this way.
So I think, I mean, we have a quorum, but Gary isn't on yet.
Yeah, we'll wait for Jesse or Gary.
Okay.
I think he's just got elected, or he's serving now as president of the HSBA, Hawaii State Bar Association. So I was
Who's
gonna,
that?
Jesse, I
Oh,
think Jesse,
Oh, yeah, that's right. He is with the Bar Association. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
yeah,
That's right.
it's kind of cool.
Oh, here's Gary. Coming on.
And hi, John and Wayne, nice to see you guys.
hi, Gary.
Hi, sir, if I'm late.
No, you're on time. So since we haven't heard from Julie and it's 5:01, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. And just for the record, those attending by Zoom, please raise your hand if you have someone else in the room besides yourself. Seeing no hands. For the record, the attendees to the Maunakea Management Board meeting that have zoomed in are by themselves. Secondly, no public comments have been received, or at least I haven't seen any, and no one has asked to testify. Is that correct, Courtney?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
That's good. All right, so we can move on to approval of the minutes of the March 5th meeting as circulated. Any questions or changes?
I move to approve the minutes of the March 5th meeting.
Is there
I'll
a second?
I'll
Thank
second.
you. Thank you, Diana. All in favor, say aye, raise your hand. Aye. Okay, minutes unanimously approved. Kahuku report.
Okay, so I'm going to include my Kahukumana report in my executive director's report again this evening. So aloha everyone, good to see you. Thank you for making time to join us this evening. Kahukumana met on March 7th, where we further discussed, excuse me, the follow-up work that we want to do with them on the inventory of cultural artifacts and on the updating of the management actions to address different issues that are coming up that we're having to address. Nahu and I continue to work on the scope of work to hire a consultant. We haven't, to be honest, haven't had time to make progress on that. There was no actions or anything that came out of the meeting. We just discussed where we were at and some of the interests. I have notified Chair Nelson Shane of Maunakea Stewardship Oversight Authority's interest in being part of that process once we get it going. So we'll be sure to include someone or someones from the authority once that process gets going. So otherwise, no progress to report on that item. In terms of meeting this month, they are rescheduling their meeting to next month or canceling their meeting this month. Several of our Kahukamana members are involved with Mary Monarch in one capacity or another, and things are just a little crazy right now for them. So they will not be meeting this month. Moving on to the other items in my executive director's report, decommissioning update. Just yesterday, we received the project schedule from Sakota Contracting. This is for the Hokukea decommissioning. They are targeting mobilizing their equipment and starting the deconstruction process the week of April 15th. And they have a projected end date of mid-July if everything goes well. UH will be preparing a press release once we get a better sense of how firm the contractor's schedule is. We've had a little bit of a challenge getting a schedule from them that they could commit to. So I want to make sure that they're firm on this schedule before we do any public communications. And as requested by Maunakea Stewardship Oversight Authority, we'll be asking for their input on the draft press release as well when that is prepared. So I've asked our communications people to start drafting it, even if the date slips, we'll be able to still use the basic content of the press release. And we'll cover in broad strokes the expected schedule for the project. Yesterday, we also received the schedule for Caltech's restart of their work on CSO. So they also are looking at remobilizing their people and their equipment the week of April 15th and sort of staging everything. Their project is a little bit more involved. They're actually having to bring in some heavy equipment, large equipment from Honolulu. So it's going to take them a good week and a half to actually get everything staged. They are anticipating work actually commencing on April 24th or the week of April 24th. Goodfellow Brothers, who's the contractor, estimates that the deconstruction of the remaining structures along with site stabilization will be completed by July. They actually had some people up there today doing some more work on the inside of the building, some remaining work on the building, inside of the building. Once the deconstruction and the site has been POW and the site has been stabilized, they're required as part of the decommissioning subplan to monitor the site for flora and fauna repopulation for a period of 3 years. Caltech is preparing a news release to be issued, I think, next week. We had a chance to review it. I know they're supposed to be sending it to John and the Maunakea Authority board for their review as well. But we finished our review, and the plan is to issue it next week sometime. Moving on to the next item I wanted to update the board on. This is a follow-up on the project I've been briefing you on periodically on the underground fuel storage tank replacement project. So I think at our last meeting, I mentioned that, the project as originally envisioned and scoped was to decommission these underground tanks, replace them with, above ground tanks, with smaller capacity, smaller footprint. But was still going to require, a fair amount of, site work and civil engineering work. At the last time I discussed the project with you, or briefed you on it, as the cost estimates were running around $2.4 million. We met with the observatory directors and the observatory oversight committee, last week and the week before. And based on the input that we received from them, on their projected fuel requirements going forward into the future, as well as some operating changes that we think we can make at our Halepohaku facilities, where we use diesel in some cases for our boiler and other equipment. We think we can rescope the project and reduce the size and footprint for a new above-ground storage and dispensing station, going from a proposed 10,000 gallon above-ground tank to a 6,000 gallon, two 3,000 gallon above-ground tanks, one for diesel and one for gas. So we're in the process now of working with the engineering firm that we've been working with to revise the design and get a revised cost estimate. And we're hoping that we get that in time for the observatory to approve the budget for next year. They're supposed to approve that budget in June. Once the budget is approved, then we actually have a project. And that at that point, we'll start preparing for our internal reviews, which includes the Environment Committee, Kahuku Maunakea Management Board, and the Maunakea Stewardship Oversight Authority. And that lays the foundation for the following phase, which is something we'll start work on as well, concurrently, and that's getting ready for the permitting phase. We hope to get started on all of this summer. But part of our ability to move forward is going to be dependent on the budget being approved by the observatories in June. Of course, once the project is more formalized, we'll be able to come back to you folks with specific design specifications and exactly what's entailed with proposing the project or moving the project forward. We do not have an option on removing the existing underground tanks. Those have to be removed by July 2028. So that's something that's a regulatory requirement. Our tanks no longer meet current standards. So that's a deadline that we can't ignore. Moving on to the Maunakea Stewardship Oversight Authority. As you may have heard in the news, Governor Green has reappointed 3 of the 4 members who were up for reappointment. Lanakila Manguel, Kalehua Krug, Homai Bertelman, have all been sitting as existing authority board members, and they have been recommended for reappointment by the governor. The 4th individual, Kamana Beamer, based on his own personal work and professional requirements and personal requirements, it has chosen not to seek reappointment. So in his place, the governor has appointed or has named Neil Hannes, formerly of Kamehameha Schools, to serve in that seat. That seat is supposed to be for an individual with Aina resource management expertise and specific experience with Hawaii island-based management, land management. I do not know, John may have current information, I do not know of any hearings being, confirmation hearings for these individuals being set yet. They will have terms that will expire, if confirmed, they will have terms that expire in June 30th, 2028. I believe they wouldn't actually be able to start until, or their new terms, or in the case of Neil, he wouldn't actually be able to start till July 1st, 2024. The other item regarding the whole transition between UH and the Maunakea Stewardship Oversight Authority, I've mentioned this to you before. We have established a long-term transfer working group. This is the group that's working on the transfer of assets and liabilities, comprised of members of the authority as well as members of the Board of Regents. I'm sitting on the committee as representing the university until the regents decide how they want to move forward with this. That group is chaired by Ben Kudo, who many of you know. They're still getting organized. Chair Kudo has recommended that the work of that working group be supported by services of an external consultant with experience in corporate mergers and acquisitions. I'm working with Chair Kudo on looking at options for securing a professional services agreement. That consultant would be a consultant to the working group, assisting us with figuring out what would need to happen to actually transfer each of these different buckets of assets and liabilities, if you will. Next item is, as you all know, Governor Green has appointed Michael Miyahira to serve as our new Hawaii Island regent, replacing Alapaki Nahalea. I do not know if a confirmation hearing has been set yet. And I'm more germane to Maunakea Management Board. I am not sure if he will be appointed by the regent's interim chair or formally named to fill the second regent seat on the Maunakea Management Board that Alapaki had filled. So some of that is still to be determined. I do want to mention that we had a very nice luncheon for Alapaki on 3/21. As I was sharing earlier before we started the meeting, Diana and her husband were able to join us, as was Kimo Lee from Kahu Kumauna. And several of our management team also joined us. We had a chance to just sit and talk, spend some time with Alapaki, showing him the facilities. He hadn't spent a whole lot of time up there before. We actually had a couple of groups of students that were up there working on different things. And so we had a chance to spend time with them. And Alapaki had an opportunity to learn about, what is it about the unique learning that they're getting from being able to do their work up on Mauna Kea. One group was from Pisces, which some of you are familiar with. They were actually doing ground testing or field testing of some new robotic equipment designed to help detect permafrost. So they had several pieces of equipment that they have designed and built that they were testing up there. And then another group, the Bonner Group, which is a leadership development civics program run by the University of Hawaii at Hilo. They had just gotten in, so we had a chance to sit with them and talk with them as well. And they had a wonderful lunch with Paki and his wife, Kahele. So thank you to Diana and Kimo for joining us. I know he really appreciated it.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So then the last thing I have is on the outreach and education side of things, Kaleo and our resource management team have hosted several groups for service days in the last month. I know University of Nations has been up there. There was one group from one of the Cal State campuses. I can't remember which one it was. And then there have been some community work days as well. They've been so busy, I'm unable to keep track of everything that they've been doing up there. But the outreach continues to expand, and lots of interest, it seems, out there in the community to come and not just work, but also learn about what it is that we do up there. And then also, we are the ongoing, you may recall that in November of 2019, the Board of Regents passed Resolution 1903, directing CMS and EMI to work on improving the educational experience up at the Visitor Information Station. So that work has been ongoing little bit by little bit, here and there, with new displays being developed by students that EMI is working with. But one of the things that we're working on now is installing new wall murals in the exhibit space there in the Visitor Information Station that Nahua and some consultants and EMI helped to conceptualize and design, taking a much broader perspective in sharing and teaching, and what we share and what we're trying to educate people on regarding Mauna Kea. So in addition to astronomy and the great science that occurs there, it's about the culture, the historical significance, the natural resources, the cultural resources, the recreational resources, etc. So I think the work will be done in probably another month or so. We've only been able to do it a little bit here and there, but I encourage folks to come up and enjoy it once it is finished. So that concludes my executive director's report for this month. Happy to take any questions.
Okay, I don't I don't see any questions. So we'll move on. I think that there is no agenda items at this time unless you have anything that came up, Greg.
Yeah, there's no new items to discuss. I would like to make a motion that we move into executive session to consult with our attorney on issues pertaining to our powers, duties, and privileges pursuant to HRS 92.5A4. If the board would so consider.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Diana. We have a motion and a second to move into executive session. All in favor, say aye or raise your hand. Aye. Unanimous. So we will move to executive session and then return to the general meeting when done. Thank you.
Thank you. Always feels weird to do this.
Disagree.
I only have one item, unless you guys have questions and stuff.
Yeah, hold on, I gotta figure out how to do this again.
Okay, I see everybody is back. I will reconvene the public meeting of the Maunakea.
No,
Oh, there she is. Okay.
Oh, okay. So I am going to reconvene the public meeting of the Maunakea Management Board. It is now 6:26, and I will have Greg summarize our executive session discussion.
So thank you, Chair. Yes, during executive session, we had the opportunity to speak with our attorney on matters concerning the transition of authority and responsibilities from the University of Hawaii to the Maunakea Stewardship Oversight Authority, and various roles that our respective organizations play, as well as our responsibilities in this whole process. No decisions were made. No recommendations were developed. The meeting or the discussions focused merely on providing and receiving information from our attorney on these matters.
Okay, thank you. So now, I guess announcements, the next public meeting will be held on Tuesday, May 7th at 5 p.m. Any other announcements, Greg, on your end?
No, not on my end. Thank you.
Okay. So given that we have covered everything at our meeting, I hope everybody had a happy Easter and have a great April, and see everyone next month. And for those of us in Hilo, enjoy Merry Monarch Festival. Oh, the crowds are coming in, that's for sure. All right, well, mahalo for everyone's time, and thank you very much. Meeting adjourned. It is now 6:29. Aloha.